Hey everyone, it's Sam Davidson here with MEA Worldwide, and I am here with Abby Quinn, who is one of the stars of the Mad About You reboot, and also she's going to be in the new Greta Gerwig Little Women. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So this has been quite the year for you. Stacked with a lot of stuff. You were also in After the Wedding with Michelle Williams and Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
So did everything kind of just happen very quickly for your career, or how did everything pan out so quickly on top of each other?
I guess it doesn't feel like that. I've been acting for a long time, and definitely like auditioning since I was 14, so it doesn't feel like that. But yeah, all these projects just lined up and are kind of. After the Wedding was this summer, and then everything's been like a release after the other. So yeah, it feels like that now, but.
So Mad About You has been such a fun project, I'm sure. When you were cast in it, did you binge all of the episodes before, or were you familiar with it?
I had never seen the show before auditioning, and then when I got the audition for Mabel, I made sure to watch all the episodes that she's in, just to have something to go off of, just because I was so unfamiliar with it. And then at this point, I've pretty much seen all of them, and I would just keep watching throughout filming, because it was just a nice way for me to feel out the tone of the show, and I didn't have a lot of time with Helen and Paul before, and I wanted to make sure it felt authentic. So I felt like I got to know them through watching the show. Yeah.
And so there's so many reboots these days. Why do you think this version of Mad About You is kind of a different take and a good project for them to reboot?
I think they've been saying the reason that they've been talking about it for like 3 years, and they realized that Mabel would be going off to college now. She's around that age, and both Helen and Paul are experiencing that too. They have kids who are about to go to college or have just left for college, so that was something that was really appealing to them. And I think Mabel is a character that she is 17, and hopefully it'll bring younger audiences in. And even I'm 23 and I still remember the feeling of leaving for school, and I can still relate to that. So hopefully that storyline will just draw a new audience. I think it will. So. And
tonally, how do you think that your character really changed, the tone of the show from what it was before?
I think you got to see a little bit of it when Mabel was in the show, but she's really spunky and fiery, and she kind of has both of her parents inside of her. She's definitely a combination of both of them. But yeah, I think she just brings this forwardness maybe, and she's very outspoken that not a lot of the other characters are, and she's not really afraid to say what other people might not, and she's kind of like unaware of that. She'll just blurt out things that are on her mind, and I think she's one of the only characters that really does that. So just like some fiery spirit.
She's a really interesting character. Was there anything in the show where you're like, oh God, this girl, is she serious?
By the end, I felt so connected to her and close. I never really thought that. I can see how other people might think that, and even the other characters, like I would, just have this long speech about something that Mabel is so passionate about, and I could like feel the other characters start to get annoyed, or like, will she just please stop talking? But I never felt that way, because I wanted to make sure that I liked Mabel, or I like believed in what I was saying. So, but I think she is that kind of person where she gets on your nerves. She can.
And what was it like working with this amazing cast, and what did they kind of teach you about being an actor?
A lot. I think Paul and Helen are they're really best friends in real life. So yeah, it was nice walking into that, and they're so comfortable with each other, and I think they wanted to make sure everyone else felt the same way, and that we could all have an amazing experience together. So I felt really comfortable right off the bat, and I think watching them, I was pretty nervous when I first went in with the live tapings, and it's just, I've never done that before. But when I got to sit back and watch Helen and Paul when they were doing their scenes alone, they really just have fun and play and do something different every take, which is something I wasn't doing right away, because I was, I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right. So I definitely, by the end, learned to do that and to take that from them, because they're just so free and want to explore and change things up, which I think is really important. Yeah.
And so it's on Spectrum, and that's a newer network, and it's done very well for the network, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Any talks about a second season yet, or, you know, we'll see what happens?
I guess we'll see what happens. I've heard rumbling. I mean, people on set will just talk about it in like hopes of it happening, but yeah, nothing official. I haven't heard anything for sure yet.
Well, you are quite busy, so either way, I think you'll be good. But of course, let's talk about Little Women as well. Have you been a huge fan of that story for your whole life, I'm assuming?
Yeah, for my whole life. I actually just remembered, I think it was 5th grade, we did each... we had to pick a person, or like an author, I think, and I picked Louisa May Alcott, and I dressed up as her and had to give this speech as Louisa May Alcott. And then my family would watch Little Women every Christmas together, and I rewatched it right before auditioning, just randomly. When I was filming After the Wedding, and I had a lot of emotional scenes in that movie, and I remembered Beth in Claire Danes, and I was just so drawn to her, and she broke down so beautifully, and it felt so real, and I was watching that, and then like a week later I got the audition for Little Women. So yeah, I love that movie so much.
And so did you audition for Greta? Like, how did that process work?
No, originally I sent in a tape, and then I didn't hear anything for like weeks, and then I retaped for Annie Moffat, which is the character that I ended up playing back in LA. So I originally taped in New York, and then like weeks later I retaped in LA for a different character. And then I found out like a couple days later, I think. Yeah.
And so what was it like working with that amazing cast, and of course with Greta herself?
It was really amazing. It was, even though I had a tiny part, I still felt very included, and especially by Greta, I think she just wanted... She wants every actor to have their own voice, and I really felt that, even though I don't have a big role in the film. But yeah, I pretty much got to meet everyone, and I had my scene with Emma Watson, or both of my scenes are with Emma Watson, which was crazy to me. But she was so nice and like welcoming, and yeah.
I'm like, she's amazing in person. She just started that, hotline for people in the workplace that are going through like some kind of sexual misconduct. So she's pretty cool.
She is, and it's the big ball scene, if you've ever seen the movie. So she's coming to this party, and she feels really uncomfortable, and luckily my character was trying to befriend her, and I lent her my dress, so I got to be really nice to Watson.
That's always nice.
Yes, it was amazing, the whole.
And how would you say that this rendition of the film is different than, the one that we love and are used to seeing?
Well, the dialogue is completely different, and I've been watching scenes on YouTube. I was just watching it was something with Greta, and she was talking about how she directed a scene with all of the characters, all the March sisters, and the scene is something like that was never in the original, or the 90s version, or the movie before that, and you really got a sense of, it's just a modernized version of what we've seen before, and the relationship between the sisters, and they just will come into a room, cause chaos, but in like the most brilliant way, because they are all so brilliant and outspoken, and you really just felt that in like one scene. So I'm excited to see the whole movie, because I think it is that way. And also the character of Amy kind of gets a new, I don't know, people are hard on her character, and she completely, you see her in a new light in the new movie, so it's, really cool.
Amazing. And so what else is coming up for you? Do you have any other projects that you're working on, or you just finished?
I did a movie a while back called Good Girls Get High, and it's going to be on HBO Max in January, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it gets to be seen by many people, and I really love it, and again, I did it a long time ago, but not a lot of people have been able to see it, so that'll be out.
Cool.
Yeah, and then this next 6 episodes of Mad About You today. So.
Yes, I know, they're amazing, so thank you so much for joining us. And guys, make sure to binge Mad About You, which is on Spectrum. It's so much fun. I've been doing it for the past 2 days.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and of course, go see Little Women. It comes out on Christmas. So thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.